Okay, then one of the main characteristics of the post-Cold War order is the U.S. hegemony. The United States, in fact, is the hegemony in the system. There are three main pillars for this U.S. hegemony. The first one is United States is unwilling to extend the many dimensions of U.S. power. Militarily, I can show you here. The military expenditure of U.S. in year 2012, today is more or less the same. United States is total military expenditure is equivalent to the combination of the next 10 states. That is, U.S. ranked number 1 in the military expenditure, and then from the one ranked number 2, the China, to number 14th. 2 to 14 is expenditure combined, just equivalent to U.S. And then in international organizations, I will talk about it later. U.S. also dominates in international organizations, and then even culturally, U.S. dominates the world culturally. Say, the Hollywood movie is the most popular movie on the world, and U.S. basketball, like NBA, is the most popular sport on the world. So, and what's the second one is, today's most of the important international organizations are Western-dominated institutions, like UN, like WTO, IMF, and World Bank. All these organizations are dominated by the U.S. And there are dense network of alliances. Here, United States have a lot of alliance in different parts of the world, and then this kind of sports. West sports are military base U.S. U.S. has military bases in nearly all over the world, all parts of the world. So, U.S. is a hegemony. However, this hegemony is different from other hegemony. This hegemony, unlike those imperial emperors in ancient time, this one, you can say, comparatively speaking, are more rational, because U.S. seldom use traditional hard power, say particularly military power, to force other states to follow its orders. It is a kind of rational hegemony. It usually use soft power. Say its position as the leader of U.S. utilize its position as the leader of the Western world to persuade other European states not to allow Huawei to engage in the construction of their 5G networks. And U.S. usually have self-restraints. Even though U.S. is military speaking, it is very strong, but U.S. seldom use military force to force other states to take its order. And also, like nowadays, European states heavily depends on U.S. military force for its national defense. However, U.S. never say, okay, you have to pay half of the military expenditure or half of this expenditure of the U.S. force stationed in Europe. So, yes, so self-restraint. But of course, Donald Trump nowadays advise, or not advise, but somehow persuade its European allies to contribute more in national defense, but not force them. And also, U.S. supply global public goods. What's a global public goods? In fact, public goods, when you talk economics related courses, you know what is public goods. 公共財, that is like traffic light, like the provision of security in the state. 公共財 that is, it is hard to divide. It's hard to decide who pay for the expenditure for provision of these public goods, but everyone can enjoy this. So, public goods. This is public goods. U.S. supply public goods. U.S. nowadays supply lots of public goods. For instance, like international organizations are very important in today's world. And then USA, in fact, pay nearly half of the expenditure for 53 the top 53 most important international organizations. Okay, because the importance of U.S. in maintenance of today's stability, as well as U.S. willing to lead the world rationally. So there's a theory called hegemonic stability theory. The basis of this hegemonic stability theory is that the distribution of power among states is the primary determinant of the characteristics of international economic system. That is, the whole economic system is shaped by the strongest state in the system. The state will have the predominant power in the system, and this power its main task is to establish a stable, open international economic system, and it's important to maintain this system. In the 19th century, the hegemony at that time is United Kingdom. United Kingdom at that moment was the strongest state on the world, and that's the name to call United Kingdom. That name is called Emperor with those sunsets. Now it is U.S. U.S. take up the leading role today. According to this theory, if there's an absence of hegemony in the system, then this system tend to be unstable. The best example is interwar period. Interwar period, that's a so-called the League of Nations. League of Nations at that moment was led by France, United Kingdom, France, United Kingdom, Italy, and also Japan, as I remember, Japan. However, this kind of state were not very strong, and the whole international economic system were not very strong. The strongest state in the system at that moment was United States, and the second one is USSR. Both of them were not the founding member of the League of Nations, and then they did not actively engage in leading the world's order at that moment. So there's because of the absence of hegemony in that period. So interwar period was characterized by instability. Okay. This I've already mentioned. There are two explanations on the causal relation between stability and existence of hegemony. Why we say U.S. hegemony is a bad influence is because it maintains the stability of today's world order. The first one, as I mentioned, is collective goods. That is like U.S. U.S. provide half of the fund of the top 53 international organizations, and also U.S. military force stationed all across the world. They're important in say combating terrorists in different parts of the world, and first combating some kind of cross-state crimes. Very important to maintain the order. Those U.S. forces stationed in different parts of the world, they were so-called collective goods. Because they provide collective goods for the whole world, because they maintain the order, stability and order of the whole world. This kind of public goods can only be provided by the hegemony. other state, medium or medium or small size states like Britain, like France, they did not have the capacity to provide these public goods, to contribute to the provision of these public goods, so they tend to free ride on the hegemony. That's why the hegemony is very important, because it stabilizes the whole world. On the other hand, why U.S. is important is a benevolent, say, hegemony, is because it's promote liberation in the whole world, and it's promote economic liberation, it's promote trade in different parts of the world. And it can use its yes, it can use. I say that why U.S. hegemony is important for maintenance of today's world is because U.S. promotes liberation, economic liberation. Economic liberation. When you tell economists, you know that the economic liberation leads to wealth because of the division of labor. You know, the effect of division of labor is win-win. Then, because U.S. promotion of liberation didn't jeopardizing its hegemonic position, this just consolidated its hegemonic position. Say, in the past, China was closed, but now China opened its door for foreign investment. This kind of foreign investment even consolidate U.S. hegemonic position. Nowadays, U.S. also promotes, say, promote open trade and open economy in Vietnam. People can freely invest in Vietnam. Then Vietnam gets richer. U.S. get richer by opening the market of Vietnam. So this trading system, in fact, is promoted by U.S. Today's trade liberal economic system was promoted as well as maintained by U.S. And then there's the theory that this system will demise if U.S. cannot no longer maintain it. And then another reason why we say that U.S. is a benevolent hegemony is because U.S. promotes democracy. And U.S. also uphold a moral approach to handle world affairs. Say, U.S. In the past, yes, but now they seldom assassinate the head of state of the United States, unless it's was enlisted by the United Nations as terrorists or as international criminals. Otherwise, U.S. did not assassinate foreign head of states. U.S. morally, like United States, of course, for someone, particularly those blue ribbon supporters, they consider the U.S. intervention in Hong Kong's anti-extradition movement is improper. However, for other people from other parts of the world, they consider U.S. intervention is a gesture to show that it leads the world morally. When China would like to suppress the freedom, suppress the human rights of Hong Kong people, U.S. intervene and threaten to sanction China. So, U.S. is a benevolent hegemony. However, on the other hand, particularly after the Lai Wen-Fen incidents, someone start to question whether U.S. is a benevolent hegemony, because U.S. now there's a so-called unilateralist term. Yes, unilateralist. Unilateralist term in U.S. foreign policy. That is, unilateral. There's an opposition of unilateral is multilateral. Multilateral, that is, U.S. if it's decided to execute a foreign policy, it must consult its allies, its partners, like UK, France, or even have to consult some international organizations, say United Nations, say NATO's. However, U.S. its invasion of Iraq does not get approval from the United Nations. This is the most typical example of U.S. unilateralism, 單邊主義，我叫 multilateralism. We call it 多邊主義. Another most recent example is United States nowadays wage tariff wars in different parts of the world. Not limited to China. U.S. wage tariff war in Canada with Canada wage tariff war with European Union, to force this kind of let's say foreign countries to say comply with some conditions, so that American firms will later leave those markets and enter into let's say again. U.S. take this kind of action without a consent, without agreement by other states on the road. So U.S. that means unilaterally. U.S. That is individual. When U.S. execute foreign policy individually, we call them unilaterally. We call it unilateralism, without consulting other partners, other states, or international organizations. From a realist perspective, all global hegemony must be magnetic. 呢個就惡性 must be magnetic, because in a self-survival system, all states would like to accumulate powers. When states accumulate enough powers, they can ruthlessly execute its policies without constraint from serious rivals. So when a state without constraint, then the state will do whatever it likes, and then it end up, say, jeopardizing the peace and stability in other parts of the world. So all hegemony are magnetic in nature. And the most critical comment on U.S. hegemony come from, he's a linguist called Noam Chomsky. He considered U.S. hegemony is so-called a neo-colonialism. U.S. through large-scale military intervention in different parts of the world, and then this is neo-colonialism, because colonialism is that a state set up a colony in different parts of the world and then send some officers under the leadership of a governor to govern this piece of land, like United Kingdom occupy Hong Kong, and then send a lot of officers under the leadership of a governor of Hong Kong to lead this colony, to govern this colony. U.S. no. U.S. did not, when U.S. invade Iraq and invade Afghanistan, after the success, U.S. did not send a governor to govern Iraq, govern Afghanistan. However, U.S. support some local leaders. But these kind of local leaders, of course, are pro-Americans. They you can say they are small brothers. They are just small brothers of U.S. And their decision usually follow the instruction from U.S. So they are new colonies. Why U.S. set up a lot of new colonies in different parts of the world? It's because they want to secure control of vital resources. That is, like, most importantly in Iraq, there are lots of oil. United States would like to secure oil supplies from Iraq. In fact, the war of terror 反恐戰爭 is the most typical example. That is, U.S. use fighting against terrorists as an excuse to dominate weaker society between states. And then this war mismatched with Washington's rhetoric of human rights and democracy, because a lot of violations of human rights like this one. They torture the prisoner of war, ask the prisoner of war to to come out from the jail lecturely, and then without any dressing, and then send some dogs to threaten the prisoners of war. If you don't tell me some information, I will ask the dog to beat you, to bite you. So like this. And then yes. But however, nowadays the U.S. hegemony is under the challenge. First of all, why they're challenged? First of all, is the war of terror. There are lots of practice which violates social human rights or democracy, liberty, these values upheld by U.S. So people in this period start to question the legitimacy of U.S. hegemony. Now Donald Trump came to power. A lot of people consider Donald Trump so ruthless. So Donald Trump's so crazy. They question why the world should be led by him, a crazy guy. And also, people start to question the globalization, world globalization led by U.S. or Washington consensus. Question the globalization, because globalization only enrich the rich and the poor suffer a lot. So, yes, question the globalization, which is under the Washington consensus. I will talk about Washington consensus later. Thirdly is, comparatively speaking, U.S. economic power has been declining after the financial crisis. Because of financial crisis, the U.S. economic faces great economic depression, and then at that period, China was rising. So comparatively speaking, U.S. economy declined since 2007, and then China had been rising since 2007. But of course, nowadays there's a remarkable change due to the COVID-19. We don't know whether the economy of China will drop remarkably after the COVID-19, but happens from 2017 to 2018. China's economy rise remarkably, and U.S. declined sharply 2007 to 2009, and then improved slightly from 2009 to 2018. However, comparatively speaking, China's economic power, comparatively speaking, was stronger than 2007. So, and then U.S. economic power, comparatively speaking, was declining in the last 11 years. So comparatively speaking, there's a decline of U.S. economic power. Okay, so U.S. hegemony rather still stands a lot. It depends. Yes. Nowadays, like this is a good example. Nowadays, the top 25 market value listed company. In the past, none of them come from China. Now, in 2011, the 1, 2, 3, 4. By 2018, the 8 of them come from China. So, comparatively speaking, China is rising, and comparatively speaking, U.S. economic power was declining. And that's the reason why they think that there's a new challenge for the U.S. hegemony. And that's the reason why we have there will be a new post-Cold War order after the U.S. hegemony, which will be the topic that I will teach you in the next video clip.